Grundy and others were charged with murder in Marion County, but the case fell apart, allowing Grundy to plead guilty to minor drug charges and declare his innocence in 2017.
They was trying to make something fit that wasn't there.
Grundy beat those charges, and he held a press conference and bragged about it.
Yet just a few months later, in November 2017, federal agents raided a series of homes around Indianapolis and charged Grundy with
developing story. Metro Police looking for another 6 gang members after locking up 9 so far in a sweep targeting the Get Money gang. Take a look at your screen. Investigators say these are the 15 gang members who are facing charges after the sweep.
The task force served citywide search and arrest warrants. Here are just some of the suspected gang members taken into custody during Operation Smoke Show. Metro Police Chief Rick Hyde is offering other known gang members a chance to avoid federal prison time.
Indiana, specifically Indianapolis, has seen its share of criminal organizations, but the recent indictments against several gangs, including the Get Money gang, 2500 gang, and the MOP, highlight the persistent and dangerous influence these groups have on the community. Law enforcement agencies have been working tirelessly to dismantle these networks, which have been linked to various illegal activities, including drug trafficking, violent crimes, and racketeering. These gangs operate across different neighborhoods, often leaving a trail of violence and fear in their wake. Recent operations and indictments demonstrate the efforts to curb their impact and bring a sense of safety back to affected areas.
Targeting the Get Money gang. Take a look at your screen. Investigators say these are the 15 gang members who are facing charges after the sweep. Investigators say members of the Get Money gang have been linked to several drug trafficking, gun use, and other violent crimes around the city.
Butler-Tarkington neighborhood has gone 190 days without a murder. The folks here are pleased with this morning's arrests. These are the mugshots of the suspects. It's not clear how many of the crimes they are accused of committing actually happened in Butler-Tarkington, because their home base was to the north at the old Creekwood Apartments and this address at 6407 Scenic Court. Back in August, 32-year-old Clarence Havard III was gunned down in the 300 block of North Bernard Avenue. No one has been charged in that crime.
Law enforcement officials report that 15 members of the Get Money gang have been charged. The gang has been linked to a series of crimes in the area, and authorities have been working to reduce violence and crime through a coordinated effort involving the Indianapolis Metropolitan Police Department, IMPD, the FBI, and other agencies. The gang operates primarily in 2 locations on the north side of Indianapolis: the Creekwood Apartments near West 71st Street and North Michigan Road, and 6470 Scenic Court. The 15 members face various charges, including dealing drugs, corrupt business influence, and criminal gang activity. Authorities used rap videos posted on YouTube as evidence in their investigation. One song, titled "Go to War," featured lyrics that referenced the gang's activities and included depictions of weapons and threats of violence. Police stated that these were not just empty threats, as the individuals featured in the videos are now either under arrest or wanted for various criminal activities. The Butler-Tarkington community has experienced significant violence, including the deletion of 10-year-old Deshaun Swanson, which officials believe was the unintended result of gang-related activity. This incident was part of a broader pattern of violence that included 4 homicides in the neighborhood. Residents and community leaders expressed relief at the recent arrests, hoping that it signals a turning point for the area. The group has also been linked to other incidents, such as a shooting on the downtown canal in 2012 and the 2014 shooting of cab driver Ricardo White by alleged gang member Landon Tompkins.
Brett, police say the gang 2500 is connected to a majority of the shootings in 2014, but now there aren't as many active gang members. So these arrests will have an impact, but it may not be as big as you think.
Since 2014, the street gang 2500 has been on Fort Wayne PD's radar.
2500 was very prominent. We're one of the 2 main instigators in the violence of 2014.
The gang started in 2012, and a shooting in 2014 launched the FBI's investigation. 4 members of that gang arrested, and there's still a handful of them out there. But Sergeant Hensler says the group has since quieted down.
U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Indiana, David Kapp, announced Thursday afternoon that multiple members of a Fort Wayne Street gang are facing various racketeering charges. According to a press release, an 18-count indictment has been filed against 4 individuals associated with the 2500 gang, which originated in the 2500 block of Caroline Street. and is linked to a Bloomington gang known as the Grit Gang. The indictment accuses the 2500 gang of conspiracy to commit deletion, attempted deletion, and drug trafficking. It specifically alleges the group's involvement in the attempted deletions of 2 rival gang members on October 4, 2014 in Fort Wayne, as well as an attempted deletion of a 3rd individual who was not affiliated with any rival gang. Since that incident, law enforcement has been actively working to dismantle the 2500 gang. Cap emphasized that this is the first time the federal racketeering statutes have been applied against street gangs in Fort Wayne, and he assured that it would not be the last. Gang activity has been linked to numerous crimes in Fort Wayne and the surrounding communities. In response, the Fort Wayne Police Department has increased its resources within the Gang and Violent Crimes Unit following a record number of deletions in Allen County in 2016.
At noon, 5 men accused of being linked to a federal drug investigation and opening fire on police make their first court appearance today. Adrian Bullock, Richard Grundy, William Gammon, and Ronnie Batts were in court for their initial hearing. Police say the group, along with another man, Lance Hatcher, were arrested after an ATF surveillance operation last week. Police tried to make a traffic stop last week after watching the men coming and going from a house in the 300 block of West 38th Street. And that's when court records say there was a police chase and shots were fired. Bullets hit a family's home across the street. A number of supporters for the men who are now behind bars showed up in court today and voiced their own opinions.
U.S. Attorney Josh Minkler celebrated a life sentence for Richard Grundy III, but admitted that justice didn't happen overnight. Following a series of 2014, Grundy and others were charged with murder in Marion County, but the case fell apart, allowing Grundy to plead guilty to minor drug charges and declare his innocence in 2017.
They was trying to make something fit that wasn't there.
Grundy beat those charges, and he held a press conference and bragged about it.
Yet just a few months later, in November 2017, federal agents raided a series of homes around Indianapolis and charged Grundy with importing. More than 20 people were convicted in that case, culminating with Grundy's life sentence.
In October 2015, prosecutors announced charges against 11 alleged members of the Grundy crew as part of an investigation into what they characterized as a large-scale drug trafficking organization. The criminal charges outlined a multi-state operation that reportedly moved significant quantities of drugs from Phoenix to Indianapolis. Several members of the group, including Grundy, were already facing separate charges related to dealing and conspiracy to distribute, stemming from a January 29, 2015 incident involving a police pursuit, during which shots were fired at officers. The charges also included multiple counts of deletion and conspiracy to commit deletion, related to at least 7 incidents since 2013. Despite these accusations, prosecuting the Grundys has proven challenging. In April 2016, prosecutors dropped 4 deletion charges against Grundy after a key witness was found to have misled investigators about her identity. The witness, who initially identified herself as Porchy Harris, provided testimony under this false identity and received financial assistance from the Department of Justice. Upon discovery of the deception, it was revealed that the real Porchy Harris had no involvement in the case, and the witness received over $6,000 before the truth came to light. Other witnesses have been reluctant to testify or have not come forward at all, complicating the prosecution's efforts. This individual has considerable influence, said a source familiar with the family. He could reach people, even those who may not be directly involved. John H. Means, who authorities described as the Grundy crew's alleged enforcer, similarly avoided conviction for his alleged involvement in 2 2014 incidents. Prosecutors believe that Grundy had instructed Means to target 4 individuals: Therese Dorsey, William Davis, Carlos Jefferson, and Julius Douglas. Despite the charges, Means was acquitted in a retrial concerning the incidents involving Jefferson and Douglas and had charges dropped in the Dorsey and Davis case due to a lack of sufficient evidence. The Grundy family's alleged activities and the subsequent challenges in securing convictions illustrate the complexities and difficulties that law enforcement and prosecutors face in addressing organized crime.
The notorious gang operating in Indianapolis is now out of business this evening following one of the biggest crime sweeps in our city that has ever had.
Police say that this area you see behind me, 42nd and Post, is the main turf for the gang that's been taken down and put out of business. And one of the suspected leaders is still has yet to be arrested. Wednesday afternoon, federal agents continued to look for William Brown, a.k.a. Jeezy, one of the suspected gang members operating in the Circle City for years. Operation Smoke Show started after the suspected gang members posted photos like this one on social media. The pictures show thousands in cash, including a stack of $100 bills. Chopper 13 recorded the police helicopter as the task force served citywide search and arrest warrants. Here are just some of the suspected gang members taken into custody during Operation Smoke Show.
The Wednesday bust of the block burners revealed startling details of the Indianapolis gang. On social media, they posed for photographs with firearms and large amounts of cash, court documents said. On the streets, they openly talked about drug dealing. But perhaps most unnerving is what could be described as a criminal enterprise development league, an affiliated gang for people ages 18 to 23. The FBI's Safe Streets Gang Task Force began investigating the block burners in late 2014, but court documents say the gang has been operating in the community for more than a decade. In 2004, former members of Four Deuce, an Indianapolis gang centralized at East 42nd Street and Post Road, founded the block burners and primarily operate on the city's northeast side. The block burners are described in court documents as a violent, highly structured gang consisting of both male and female members. The gang also has a sub-element for members 18 to 23 known as the 2x Gang, or 2TG. The group of younger members is named for Dominique 2x Jenkins, a high-ranking member of the block burners deleted in January 2013, court documents said. His brother Damon Smith, aka Dum, 19, established 2TG in his honor. Despite the age difference, the 2TG members operated in step with the block burners. The fresh recruits engaged in the same kind of violent activity as the older bangers with the hope of moving the gang's overall drug enterprise forward. Investigators have assessed the block burners as the largest violent criminal gang operating in the city, court documents said. About 90 members have been identified by police. Since their inception, the block burners have claimed areas from Post Road East to German Church Road and from East 21st Street North to East 56th Street. They specialize in violent crime, drug dealing, and illegal firearms, court documents said. To learn more about the block burners drug operation, police use confidential informants and undercover agents to conduct more than 24 controlled purchases with the gang, court documents said. Wiretaps also were placed on the phones of 5 members to gain additional insight and identify roles within the organization. Members Fred Davidson, 32, Daryl Stennis, 26, David Williams, 36, and Aaron Garrett, aka Nanny, 22, were described in court documents as suppliers for other members. Monitored conversations also revealed Davidson making trips to California to buy for distribution in Indianapolis, documents said. In mid-May, Davidson was caught on security footage at a Crenshaw, California post office mailing a package intended for Brown, court documents said. After a drug-detecting dog alerted police to the package, a warrant was obtained and more than 680 grams were found inside the box. Suppliers such as Stennis seem to take pride in the potency of their product, court documents indicate. Stennis often called on addicts to serve as testers and asked the users to rate the power of the drug on a 10-point scale. During an April 27 phone call with the dealer he supplied, Stennis asked how a frequent tester known as Cal was enjoying his latest batch, court documents said. Stennis was pleased to hear that the drug nearly deleted Cal, and that the tester's lips turned blue and skin went pale after taking a hit. Face-to-face encounters between informants and block burners dealers gave investigators a glimpse at the level of violence gang members were willing to commit, even against each other. On May 7, a controlled buy was set up with Tremaine Tatum, 22, court documents said. Tatum was supposed to meet an informant around 2:30 p.m. at the Brentwood Apartments at 42nd and Post, but the 2TG member never showed. The informant eventually bought 2 grams from Smith for $200, but moments later, the undercover agent waiting nearby heard screaming, court documents said. The informant told the undercover source that after the deal with Smith was done, Tatum arrived and put a pistol to Smith's head, court documents said. Tatum told Smith, "Give me my bread," and Smith quickly handed over the $200. Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts associated with the gang were closely monitored. Investigators looked into the employment and income history of gang members posing with stacks of cash to confirm suspicions that the money was obtained illegally. After nearly a year of gathering information, 525 law enforcement officers from throughout the Midwest served 22 federal and state warrants at 32 different locations during the sting, dubbed Operation Smoke Show. The bust netted drugs, guns, and more than $53,000 in cash. Federal prosecutors have charged 9 Indianapolis men allegedly connected to a group called the Mob in connection with 24 pharmacy robberies across Indiana and Kentucky. The 31-page indictment, unsealed on Tuesday, outlines the defendants' alleged involvement in a series of 23 robberies at CVS pharmacies in the Indianapolis area and one in Louisville, Kentucky, between December 2014 and June 2016. The indictment claims the group stole thousands of prescriptions, which were then resold on the streets of Indianapolis. Attorney Josh Minkler stated that the group also recruited juveniles, referred to as peons, to carry out the robberies on their behalf. The indictment also highlighted social media activity by alleged members of the Mob, where they discussed possessing drugs and firearms and made references to gang membership, adherence to a code of silence, and the consequences of snitching. One post, dated December 25, 2014, warned against cooperating with authorities, stating, "Don't get deleted for giving names. All you informants are going to have to rest in peace." The document further alleges that the men were involved in a shooting incident in October 2015 during a dispute over the distribution of stolen drugs. Although the indictment does not name the victim, the details match the circumstances surrounding the deletion of 19-year-old Malik Perry in the Butler-Tarkington neighborhood. Prosecutors indicated that the individual responsible for Perry's deletion was not named in the adult indictment, suggesting the involvement of one of the group's juvenile members. The Mob is said to have operated primarily in the near north side of Indianapolis, including the Crown Hill, Butler-Tarkington, and Martindale-Brightwood neighborhoods. The arrests and indictments of numerous gang members across Indianapolis and Fort Wayne are a significant step towards restoring peace and security in neighborhoods plagued by gang violence. However, these actions are only part of a broader effort required to address the root causes of gang activity. Ongoing community engagement, preventative measures, and support for those affected by gang violence are crucial for long-term change. While the recent crackdowns provide hope, the fight against organized crime continues, requiring vigilance and collaboration between law enforcement and the community to ensure a safer future for all.